Hey everybody, this is Steve with Smitty's Fly Box. Today we're going to tie a club sandwich grasshopper or a triple decker foam hopper. So these are fun to tie and really effective to fish, fun to fish in the summertime coming up. So we're doing it for our July intermediate box. So we're going to send you a couple different foam options, different color variations that you can work with, and so let's just jump right in. I'm going to tie with this yellow variation, has a little bit lighter underbody, and you want to cut you a nice strip of foam that's about the width of the hook gap, and that's about the right size, and then it's long enough so there's some hanging out the front and out the back as well. But before we do that, let's just attach our thread, and let's start our thread up kind of close to the eye of the hook, and we're going to lay down a nice layer of thread all along the hook shank, really trying to cover up that hook shank as best we can. So this is a Daiichi 2220, and I'm using 140 denier thread or 6/0 thread, doesn't really matter. And I'm going to take my thread all the way back to the back, because this hook may be slightly exposed, so we want to cover that hook up. And let's turn right around and come forward about 3/4 up the hook shank. So we're going to stop about right there, maybe 2/3. That's about right there. Now before I attach the thread, let's just, if you have a little super glue, a little bit of head cement or something, let's just brush a little bit on that thread just to lock it in there, keep it from sliding around, and it'll also glue to our foam. So, all right. So let's just take our foam sheets, position them right there, and make a nice wrap all the way around, and then a few pretty firm wraps to attach that foam to our hook. Now I'll begin my segmentation as we go back. So I'm going to do a diagonal wrap, come around and make a straight wrap, and then tighten it down. And let's continue that as we work our way back down the hook shank and try to make nice even segmentations as we go. Maybe get a little slightly smaller to create a little taper. Now I'm going to climb up that foam, so I'm going to this particular wrap I'm going to go diagonal, but then I'm going to come up under the foam but not wrap it around the hook. So we'll make a little extended body. And you have to be a little careful here to make sure your thread finds the grooves. Let's do 2 extensions here. So we'll do one more segment here and try to position that where we like it. Like that. All right, now I need to, you can see the top section. Now I'm going to crisscross that going back. So let's crisscross it to that groove and make sure our thread wrap is in the previous groove that we made. And crisscross it there and work our way forward in each groove like that till we reach our main groove right there. All right, so there's the body of the fly. Let's just trim the excess off like that, and we can begin working on the wings and the legs. So for the wing, I'm going to put a little Krystal flash, couple of strands just to add a little flare to it. Let's tie those in. I'm going to be working again in this main groove. Make sure that's secured in. Those will be standing straight up. And then let's trim those about just barely past the body there. Okay, and now we're going to put on some elk wing, add a little natural look to it. So I'm going to trim off just a small amount of elk hair, about what you'd use for an elk hair caddis. Clean that off and stack it so it looks nice and neat. And I want that elk to extend just past the body right there like that. We'll just tie that right down on top of that Krystal flash, gather all that hair, and then make some fairly firm wraps right there with that elk hair. 3 or 4. Once we feel like we've got that secured in, let's come in and trim off the butts. Give it a little haircut. And avoid the temptation of trying to trim that hair down too tight, too close, because it can slip out. We'll cover all that up later. Let's just make a couple more good turns right through those butts like that. All right, so there's the wing. Now let's put in our knotted legs. So what I've done is I've just taken 3 pieces of those legs and made a knot. So the first set, I'm just going to position those on this side of the hook and secure those down right in that same spot. 3 or 4 good turns. And let's do the opposite side. Like that. And now you can see how our legs are positioned with those knots. All right, now we're going to put a little piece of indicator foam on there. In our box, we're going to send you options for a couple different colors. So you can use pink, orange, whatever. I'm going to use this little orange and just lay that on top. And that just cleans everything up, gives us a little bright foam on top to help us visually see that fly really well. And now I need to advance my thread to the next segment. I'm going to pull everything back and go right up underneath. Just work my thread to just behind the eye. And now I can tie down the main foam right there. Let's tie down the legs, bring those forward. And let's tie down the indicator right on top. And just like that. Now let's pull everything back again and make a bunch of nice turns right underneath on the hook, and let's do a whip finish right there. Pull everything back, make a nice tight whip finish like so. And now we're ready to trim everything down. Let's start with our indicator foam right there. Front legs, let's pull 2 and leave 1. Let's shape that head a little bit and trim it down. We can go to about right there, and we can shape that head slightly. Okay. Back legs, let's do the same thing. Let's pull 2 and leave 1. And trim those down. Okay, now we need one more set of legs through the middle there. So what we'll do is we'll take our bodkin, or a needle. If you have a little needle, works just fine. Just poke that through, right through the center bottom there, and create a hole. And we'll take our bobbin threader and poke that through that hole. And just take a single leg, place it in our bobbin threader, and pull that through like that. And now we've got another set of legs right there. Make sure we even everything up how we like it. All right, that's pretty good. Last thing we're going to do is just clean up anything that we need to clean up. Put a couple eyeballs on there, and then add a little more glue. I like to just take my super glue or head cement and just fill in some of those gaps, maybe along the legs there to keep those in, up around the eye and a little bit under that underbody. And that's pretty fun when fish start munching that foam. So there's a good summertime grasshopper for you.